Welcome everybody to 5 Minutes with the Guru. I'm with my good friend and client Dr. Mike Freelander, MP, the current member for Macarthur, and with the elections coming up in the middle of May, it's all an exciting and busy time for you, Mike.
It's a very exciting time.
Yeah, we've known each other. Mike's a paediatrician over a few years that Mike will tell us in a minute, but I got to know him when my young fella, who's now 26, brought into this world by Mike, and the only reason he's alive is probably for Mike's good work as a doctor, and many people around Macarthur have that feeling and knowledge of how good he is as a person, as a doctor, and helps the community out. And tell me how long you were a doctor for. You're still a doctor, but how long full-time and paediatrician?
Well, I've been a doctor now for 41 years, but I've worked in Macarthur for the last 35 years as a paediatrician. And, I've had an absolutely blessed career. No one could have had a better career than mine in terms of the joy I've had out of it, and watching lots of the kids that I've looked after grow up to be decent human beings and great citizens of Macarthur, and brought home for me by things like the election campaign. Well, I get to meet the kids I looked after as babies, now grown up with families of their own. It gives me great pleasure, and no one could have a better job than that, I think.
Yeah, and it must be very satisfying, and also I assume in times very stressful when you got people's lives in your hand, literally, over many years. How do you go from being, and I know from visiting you, not just in hospital, but when in your own surgery, where you consult, how do you go from that busy lifestyle of seeing patients after patients and in hospital at all different hours to then letting go of that? How was that?
Well, look, I think it's taken me a long time to adjust to the difference, to be honest with you. I still do a little bit of clinical work, I still do a clinic at the hospital, but the political life is one that I think I can make a difference in, that I know about looking after kids and the needs of kids and young families, and particularly people with disabilities, kids with disabilities. And the main reason I wanted to go into politics was to really look at what I could do on a bigger picture scale, because many of the people that I was seeing, many of the kids I was seeing, they needed access to housing, access to healthcare, access to education, access to jobs. And I think that I can do something on a bigger picture scale. And of course, the other issue that I really want to help with is getting people to get access to the NDIS and to plans that they need and suit them. So I can help in that way, and I think I've been able to help a number of people over the last 3 years by getting support services for them. But it's really the bigger picture issue that I think I can do the most good in, and I have been advocating for a lot of changes to the health system, better facilities out here, educational facilities, and of course also other things like infrastructure to this rapidly growing area.
Yeah, well, it is one of the fastest growing areas, and I guess no one knows the people better than you from a lot of the time with the actual people that live here and grow up here. How is coming accustomed to being, you've been in Parliament now since 2016, so I understand there's a big learning phase when you first get in there, and how have you handled that?
Look, I think I've done all right. I have a big problem in that I've never been a person who has a lot of patience. I like to get things done. If someone says something needs to be done, then I'm not happy until it's done. And politics is not quite like that. Just because I want something done doesn't mean it's going to happen. I've learnt that, and it is very frustrating. I know it's one of the frustrations people have with politicians that represent them. They know that things need to be done, and it's very frustrating when the things don't happen the way they should. So that's been difficult for me to deal with, and I do still feel those frustrations. But I figure I can concentrate on a few issues and try and push them ahead, and we'll get there in some time. But
just keep banging away.
Keep banging away, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm like a dog with a bone.
Good on you.
Yeah.
And is there one main thing that we have the election, you get voted in again, and this is the one thing that I really feel strongly about? What's that one thing?
Well, the one thing that I feel very strongly about is public transport infrastructure in southwest Sydney. I think we've missed out probably for political reasons, and I think it's very important with the rapid development that's been happening and is going to continue that we get proper public transport in the Macarthur area, and that means public transport with the train line from Leppington to Western Sydney Airport, and for the south to north train line from Macarthur through to Western Sydney Airport. I'm very positive about the airport, but if it's going to be of benefit to Macarthur, we need to get our public transport links right, and that includes both passenger rail and freight rail to Western Sydney Airport and on to the north. So that's something I'm really working on very hard, and we've had some commitment from Anthony Albanese, our Shadow Infrastructure Minister, to do all those things if we win government, and I'm really hoping for that.
Yeah, well, someone that works and lives in the area, I'm all for that as well.
Great.
Well, good luck in the election, and thanks for what you do around Macarthur, and good luck. Cheers.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks.
Cheers.